CJ Stroud and the Texans versus the Jets on Monday Night Football. Seems like a pretty safe bet to make. Let's talk about it in the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle.
Texans had no primetime games at the start of the season, and it's hard to really blame the schedule makers for such a decision. However, it seems pretty obvious that that's going to change sooner rather than later, and it could happen on the biggest stage in the NFL and the biggest stage in the sports world. CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans versus the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. Appreciate you for coming through. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. We have exclusive interviews with Texans players every Thursday and the pulse of what's going on in Houston. And this is the top digital resource as well. So whether you're a Texans fan or not, appreciate you for coming through. Be sure to subscribe, and ride along for the best Texans coverage you can get, whether you're a fan of the Texans or just want to get a pulse of what's going on. So Texans on Monday Night Football versus the Jets. Is it inevitable? I would think so. There's a lot of talk behind the scenes. It seems like it's kind of a poorly kept secret. I've heard that if the Texans are going to be flexed, they don't want it to be a game at NRG. I don't know why that is, but they would like it to ideally be a road game. So the Jacksonville game obviously didn't get flexed. CJ Stroud, the talk of the NFL right now, he's one of the top topics. So you would think that the NFL would want to flex CJ Stroud and the Texans at some point. And Monday Night Football, what better opportunity to flex the Texans? I'm going to lay out why I believe the Texans will be facing the Jets December 10th on Monday Night Football and why it makes sense outside of the obvious. But first, let's just give you a little background on the flexing rules. Monday Night Football flexing can be used from weeks 12 to 17. That is the rule from weeks 12 to 17. Right now, we're in week 12, so it can begin right now, and from week 17, it can happen. However, fans and season ticket holders, they must be made aware of a flex 12 days in advance. 6 days in week 18. That's, of course, for Sunday night. But they must be made aware 12 days in advance, which would mean that the deadline to flex Texans-Jets would be Tuesday, November 28th, which is a week from today. And that would be week 14, so it falls in that window as well. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I believe this is going to happen. And why it kind of sucks for me because I'm going to Boston for Army Navy, and we had scheduled a trip. We're going to be in New York. We're flying from Boston to New York, and then we were going to fly out of New York on Sunday night so we could go see Texans Jets when it was originally scheduled at noon. And I'm talking as if it's going to happen. It just seems to make too much sense, and it seems to make sense logistically as well. Which I'll get into in a sec. But here are the 3 reasons why I think this is going to happen. Reason 1, the current matchup. Let's look at the week 14 schedule here. And if you look at the current schedule, the current primetime games for week 14, you have Cowboys-Eagles at 7:20. That's not going to change. And then you have Monday night, you have the Titans at Dolphins, and you also have the Packers at Giants. So who wants to watch the Packers and Giants? And there's more to it than that. But neither one of those teams is really good. So Packers, Giants, very few people want to watch those squads. Reason number 2, the other options to flex. So if you're going to flex out Packers, Giants, then what else are you going to put there? Tampa Bay, Atlanta? No. Rams at Ravens? No. Lions at Bears, I feel like we've seen enough of the Bears. Colts at Bengals, no. Jags at Browns, no. Panthers at Saints, no. Vikings at Raiders, no. Seahawks at 49ers, decent game, maybe. Bills at Chiefs, maybe, although I don't think you're going to take it from the CBS Prime game. And then Broncos at Chargers, no. So the other options, there's nothing as appealing as CJ Stroud on primetime in New York, one of the biggest stages, and against the Jets. Reason number 3 is the logistics. And I think this makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, but I think this makes sense. If you look at the Texans game against the Jets, it's scheduled at noon at MetLife Stadium. That's a noon game. Then you go to Monday Night Football, you have Packers at Giants. That's also at MetLife Stadium. So you already have MetLife Stadium staffed at noon on Sunday. You could just move that game to Monday, and then you move the Monday game between the Giants and Packers back to Sunday, and it's really not as much of a shuffle. Now, I don't know how stadium staffing works. I don't know if there's different crew for Jets, Giants, but I would assume a lot of that is the same. And the people that work on Sundays, they're either working a Giants or a Jets game. So you just move that noon game from Texans, Jets to prime time, move the Giants back to noon. You got your staff. You probably have to make a few tweaks, and you get CJ Stroud on prime time against the Jets, who are still a pretty appealing squad, despite the fact that, you know, their ceiling is a little bit lower with Aaron Rodgers out. So I would bet we got a week until it becomes officially official. But if I'm betting, I bet the Texans take on the Jets prime time. There's a lot of whispers of that Monday Night Football. Sucks for guys like me that already had the trip planned, but kind of is what it is. It's all about the TV. I don't blame the NFL for that. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. Big game for the Texans this week. They got the Jags. That's going to be a big one. Big AFC South implications. Appreciate you for coming through. And remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate you.
We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in